Our first presenter is Reverend Louise Michaud, and she's an ordained spiritualist minister, medium, teacher, author, spiritual counselor. Louise received her training at the Fellowship of the Spirit School of Spiritual Healing and Prophecy in Lilydale, New York, where she was able to enhance her natural psychic mediumship abilities. She has attended workshops with world-renowned psychic Sylvia Brown, medium Colette Barron-Reed, Doreen Virtue, Lisa Williams, and Neil Donald Walsh, to name a few. She has her own private reading practice, teaches mediumship classes, and is the assistant minister at East Hamilton Spiritual Church. Louise has also written a book called A Daughter's Journey, A Spirit from Heaven, and this book was written to help families who are grieving the loss of a child or if their child has been diagnosed with a serious illness. So without further ado, please welcome Louise.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, and I want to welcome everyone here. Tonight I'm going to talk about different ways that Spirit communicates with us. Can everyone hear me back there? Yeah? Okay. I usually talk loud enough, but anyway. Now, first of all, we are all intuitive. God gave every single one of us the gift of intuition. For some, it's easy to be able to understand the communication that comes from our loved ones, our guides, and our angels. For others, it's more difficult, and the reason for that is they're not always open. The fear of seeing spirit or hearing voices, the fact that they don't believe that it's real, that it's true, that they can do this, and also that they are not deserving of receiving guidance. Now, every single one of us is guided throughout our lifetime because we certainly need it. So the different ways that I'm going to explain how they come through, because a lot of people don't realize that. You see things, but you think, oh, you just fluff it off as if it was nothing. But they come through in smells. That's one of the ways. So you may smell perfume, you may smell tobacco, you may smell a certain flower, cooking, or smoke. Some people, when I smell tobacco, I know my dad is there. It only lasts for a few seconds, but the fact is that it's just enough time to acknowledge that I'm here, I'm with you, and I'm watching over you. And it's a comforting feeling knowing that they are there for that. Other ways are leaving coins. It used to be pennies, now it's dimes. But anyway, and feathers. Now coins, I'm going to tell you one story. Somebody told me they were traveling, they went to a hotel, and she went to pull the sheets down, or the comforter, and in between the sheets, the fitted sheet and the sheet you put over top, there was a dime. There's no way that the chambermaid could have put that dime there. That's coming from spirit. Feathers, they say if you find white ones, they're usually angels. So if you find a white feather, pick it up and say thank you. Always acknowledge when you're aware of the ways they communicate. Most of them will communicate electronically. Cell phones, television, lights flicking on and off, computers acting kind of weird. If you want to blame it on Mercury retrograde, that's fine, but sometimes it is spirit. I have a picture in my book of my husband's cell phone, and it's a message from my daughter 2 days after she passed, a missed call from her cell phone to his cell phone. So that's proof. When I wrote the book, I forgot all about that, and I thought, it took me over a year to write it, but I thought, oh my goodness, he's got that on his cell phone. He had it there for over a year. So I said, take a picture of it and I'll put it in the book. For all the people that don't believe in this kind of stuff, when they see something like that, that's proof. So he took a picture of it, and as soon as the picture was taken, it disappeared from his phone. So my daughter was waiting for us to take that picture to put it in the book to show everyone. I was going to show it to you later, but I should have put but here it is here. It's got the date. She died on the 22nd. This is the 24th at 11:46 at night. It was after a meditation circle that we had gone to in her honor. So that's proof that they do communicate that way. You'll find they move things around the house. She's moved the picture on our wall unit. She's rang the doorbell. I even went to answer the door, and then I heard, "Mom, don't bother getting up, it's only me." So those are the electronic ways that they communicate. Sometimes you're asking for guidance or you're praying. The next morning you open up a book and you start reading, and there's the answer that you needed to hear in the book. Or you'll hear a conversation going on in a room and you'll hear one key word. So, oh my God, that's exactly what I needed to hear. In songs, I'm sure we've all experienced this. You don't hear a song for years, and all of a sudden you hear it, you think, oh my goodness, but you don't hear it just once, you hear it 2 and 3 times. Just listen to the words of that song. There's a meaning behind it. Your answers are in that song. They'll, posters or signs outside, license plates. I'm going to share this one story. When I was traveling back and forth to school, it was an hour and a half to go to Lilydale, and it was a Sunday afternoon. I was coming back from class, and there were things going on in my life at that time. Plus, I had to do 3 projects for my graduation, and so I was kind of frustrated, and I thought, oh my gosh, God, give me a sign. Sometimes we tend to lose our focus, and we start to doubt ourselves. And so this is what I was going through. So I said, if you could just show me a sign. The next thing, there's a black pickup truck driving on the passing lane. And normally, people that have businesses will advertise on the side of their door or on the back panel or on the back window, but there was nothing but on the back window, and it was only on half the window, which I found very odd. But I turned, as soon as I said, just show me a sign. Now, we don't always get a sign instantly. Sometimes it takes, months, days, sometimes even years. And so I looked, and on half of the window, the big letters, it said F-A-I-T-H, faith, keep your faith. And I looked up, whenever I'm aware of signs, I look up and I say, thank you very much. And I thought, did I imagine this? Anyway, I went into the passing lane and I sped up to see if I could find that truck. There was no truck on the road. That was just Spirit bringing that to me so that I would know to keep my faith and not to doubt what was happening, that everything would work out. And it always has. So I'm very grateful for that. Now there are other ways. Those are some of the the technical ways that they'll come through, but they also come through readings. Okay, so people they want guidance, they want direction in their life, and so they come to us for a reading. Spirit will come through and they'll ask for forgiveness. A lot of times, 90% of the people that I've read for, Spirit will always come through and ask for forgiveness. So whether they cause that person pain or heartache throughout their lifetime, this is what they are asking for, to be forgiven. But they'll also ask the person to make some changes in their life, because as we get older, growing up, we have a lot of limited beliefs about ourselves, lies, falsehood, things that were instilled in us when we were growing up that aren't real, but we believe them to be real because they were instilled in us by our parents, our grandparents, teachers, siblings, anyone that you've ever been in contact with. Now, our parents, they did the best that they could. They raised us as much as, the way they were brought up, they just continued doing the same thing for us, but a lot of times it caused us a lot of anxiety, fears. I know my parents, they were loving, but the thing is that I was raised in fear, and I had to work on getting rid of that. And I'm still working on things. So when they bring you messages that you need to get rid of certain issues in your life, that are sabotaging your relationships, or they're preventing you from having the courage to move forward in life, or that for your own inner healing, that you need to rid yourself of those issues one at a time, because down the road it can create illness, okay? It could be years down the road, but when we hold on to that, all it does is prevent us from evolving spiritually, because we're all here for a reason, and we all have a purpose, and that purpose, as far as I'm concerned, you know, I don't ever try to instill my beliefs in others, but I truly believe that we're all here to live our life as Christ did, to forgive unconditionally, to love unconditionally, and not to judge or criticize another human being. And that's why he came here, to teach us that. And I'm trying to live my life and follow that direction, because it's the best, to me, that's the best way to be. So anyhow, when we start getting rid of these issues one at a time, you got to keep in mind that it took us many years to believe those things about us. And so it's not going to happen overnight. You have to take baby steps in order to heal yourself. And so this is what Spirit will do. They will come to you and they will bring you that. Some people think, oh, that's, you know, that's I don't want fear of making changes in your life. Now, they're not going to hand things to you on a silver platter. You have to do some of the work. And some people think, well, it's too much work, I can't be bothered. I actually had one lady that came for a reading, and she said that to me. She said, you know, I just can't get moving. Something is stopping me. I can't get motivated. What Spirit comes through, gives her, you know, the answers that she needs to make some changes in her life to be able to move forward. And she says, oh, I can't do that. That's too much work. And I thought, well, you came here and you're paying me, and I'm grateful that Spirit's come through for you, but they don't, you know, people are not always willing to make those changes, because it's always the fear of the unknown. What are people going to think of me if I start making these changes? How am I going to feel about myself? You're going to feel wonderful when you start releasing a lot of the issues that have plagued you for your whole life. Now, when I say things that just playing outside when you were a child with your little neighbor friend, and he or she said, oh, I don't want to play with you anymore, I don't like you today. Tomorrow is, you know, it's a different story, you're playing again. But saying that I don't like you, those words are instilled within you. And you forget about it as you grow up, but your subconscious brings up the emotions as you get older, because you start thinking, was it something that I did to make her feel that way, or is it me? And so that's where it affects you from the time you're little. And other events in our life and other people, we're all here to create, okay? And we create with our thoughts and what we say. So if you're walking around thinking negatively and speaking negatively, that is exactly what you're going to attract. So always change when you get a thought and it's a negative one, cancel it, delete it, get it out of your head. That's your wonderful ego bringing that to surface so that it can keep its control over you. Because our ego, now it's not always a bad thing, because it brings up these emotions and feelings, which is good because it makes us aware of what we need to work on and what we need to deal with. So I always give thanks to my ego when it comes into my head. You know, that mind chatter that we all have, that conversation that we have, you know, we want to do something and, oh, well, you hear, I'm not good enough, maybe I better not do that. What if I fail? All of those thoughts are coming from your ego. And I always explain to people the way you can differentiate between a feeling, a thought, or a desire, a goal, something you want to do in life, but you're not quite sure. How you can tell the difference if it's coming from the divine. When I say divine, I mean your loved ones, your angels, and your guides. They're bringing this to your thought. You didn't just, your conscious mind didn't just say, oh, I want to do this, I want to be a healer. No, that's spirit guiding you on your spiritual path, which we all have from the time we were born. We came here for a reason. And so when spirit says to you reasons that are negative, this is how they come in. The ego will come in negatively, it will come in hard, like you feel that, oh, that knot in your, you know, either in your throat or in your gut, or that sour taste. And it's negative, so you know when you feel that, that's not the way to go. When it's coming from the divine, it's coming from love, it's coming from your heart, it comes in positive. So if you have something that you would really like to do in life, and you feel, I really want to do this, I feel good about it, go with that, because that's the direction you want. But if you come up with all the negative reasons why you shouldn't do that, then don't do it, because that's coming from your ego, and you're sure to fail, trust me. So that's how, when you come for a reading, and I'll tell you, we all have the answers within us, every single one of us. But again, it's our lack of confidence and how we feel about ourselves that prevent us from believing that we can do certain things. We are never ever alone, even if at your darkest time, and I've had some with my daughter, she was sick all her life, and even at my darkest, I never ever doubted that God, my angels, and loved ones were not there to help me. The outcome could be different, but there's a lesson to be learned from each outcome. And I'll tell you, no matter how bad it may seem to you in your situation, trust that there's something positive that you can derive from it. And that's where we learn our lessons. So I'm very grateful that I am aware. When we become aware and start making these positive changes, you're going to notice, you're going to feel lighter, you're going to feel good about yourself. It's going to raise your confidence level, and you're going to feel, I can do anything. And trust me, you can do anything. And I always say, God created every single one of us. And God is all about love, and God is powerful. And if we are just a part of God, what does that make us? Same thing, loving and powerful. But as humans, with the way we were raised, and all of our events and surroundings and the people in our life made us feel different, okay? So you have to trust yourself, trust in your intuition, believe in yourself, and if you want to move forward, you have to make those changes. It's like a boulder. Look at it as a rock. Okay, so all of these limited beliefs and all of these issues that you have, look at it as a rock. When you start healing one at a time, it starts chipping away at that, and eventually it gets smaller and smaller, and it's going to make a big difference in your life. You're going to feel so much better, and it's going to help you make the right choices. Not that making the wrong choice is bad, because you learn from that. So that's a good thing. But it's going to help you to have the courage to move forward and make those changes in your life. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this book. This book was written, again, this is Spirit helping and guiding me. This is my beautiful daughter, Chantal. She passed away 4 years ago. The minute her soul left her body, I felt it. And from that moment on, she started to bring us guidance and support us and help us. But what's significant about this book is 2 months after she passed, I was sitting at the computer writing, and all of a sudden I felt her energy. And she comes in a certain way. She kind of jumps in. And of course I started bawling, 2 months since she'd gone. It hadn't been that long. And I said, oh, thank you, honey, for being here. And then I heard, Mom, you have to share my story and help families out there that are grieving the loss of a child, or their child's been diagnosed with a serious illness. And I thought, oh my God, if I say yes and not do it, I couldn't live with myself. So I have never written a book in my life, And I wasn't that great in English and writing essays and things, but I said, I will do this if you help me. And so every time I sat behind the computer to write, I would call on her and the Archangel Gabriel, who's the Archangel of Communication, and I would ask them to help me. Not to write the information, because I grew up, hang on here, I just lost my train of thought. Our experiences as she was growing up, I knew all of that. It was our life together, and I had documented a lot of the things when she was sick, dates and times and things like that. So I had all of that, but what I needed was help to get the words on paper so that they would flow, so people would understand what I was trying to explain to them. So this is why this book was written, and I'm so grateful that she was there to guide me and to give me the courage and the inspiration to be able to do this. And so if anyone here thinks that they can't do certain things, take that out of your thoughts, because we can do anything that we want. As I said, God gave us the power to do that. So how wonderful is that, that we're never alone. Don't ever think that you're alone, because you're not. Even though we don't always see them, they're there. And it's wonderful. And I didn't even look at the time when I started. But anyway, I think that's it. Another thing I wanted to say, sometimes people, they say, well, I pray, and I don't seem to get any answers. Again, it's not that they don't answer our prayers, it's that we're not always open to listening or seeing the signs that are out there for us. I don't know how many people here, but lately I have been getting, for I'm going to say the last 6 months, sequence in numbers, 1s, 2, you get 3 1s, 3 2s. Before I came here, I had the 4s, and I know 4s, our angels are working with me. And I always ask my angels when I get up here to help me to get the words out so that I don't fall flat on my face. And I know they're here helping me, and you're all here for a reason as well, to hear the speakers, but there's something that you're going to get from everything you learn here tonight. So there's a reason we're all connected. You're sitting here, and we all help each other to create. That's why we're here. So appreciate and be grateful for, even if it's, somebody ticks you off, don't look at it as that. Look at it as, thank you. I'm learning, I need to learn more patience with this person, or I need to give them unconditional love or forgiveness. So it's important. And not only forgive people that have hurt you, but we have to forgive ourselves. We are our worst enemy. We have to, and we are critical and judgmental of ourselves, and it's because of how we feel about ourselves. So keep that in mind next time you think, oh, I don't want to do that, I'm not good enough, or, I failed in the past, I'm not going to succeed. Get that out of your mind. That's past data. Let go of what's happened in the past. The future's not here yet. We could have goals and desires for the future, yes, but we have to live in the moment, in the now.